Morning. This is Abigail Morrow. I am going to do day 12 of the 30 days of prayer that we have been going through. All have been wonderful. Day 12 is good as well. Makes you think. The scripture is Isaiah 6:1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord seated on a throne, high and exalted, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Day 12 is who are you looking for? During the late 60s in America, civil, political, moral, spiritual, and international unrest swept the country. Young people were protesting America's involvement in Vietnam. The civil rights movement was in full swing. Politically motivated assassinations of Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. thrust the nation in even deeper unrest. Anti-establishment feelings were gaining traction as more and more young people questioned authority and rebelled against most norms. During this time, the hippie culture was rapidly expanding as people searched for meaning and life through rock music, drugs, sex, and rebellion against the morals of the mainstream culture. In 1969, the age of Aquarius was just gaining ground with love, peace, sexual freedom, and the New Age thinking being heralded as an avenue to personal enlightenment and spiritual self-realization. College campuses were at the forefront of the Cultural Revolution as many experienced demonstrations, riots, sit-ins, and general unrest. Christian colleges were also plagued by this unrest as students and faculty grappled with how to effectively share Christ with a growing pagan culture. But even in the midst of such unrest, God was at work, drawing his people, especially college students and young people, to desperately seek him in prayer. As students and young people began to look to God for answers, they studied the Bible, they prayed through revivals, they prayed earnestly for God's spiritual awakening. Soon God began to move in what was called the Jesus movement. This is 1970 through 73. In which thousands of young people were converted to Christ all across America. Isaiah 6:1 says that Isaiah saw the Lord, which literally means to see or observe the Lord and a manifestation of his revelation and message. Because Scripture is clear, no man can see God's face and live. Isaiah evidently saw a limited manifestation of God, not the full essence of his glory. This revelation came as Isaiah was looking for a fresh vision of God during the days after Uzziah's death. His desire was not to see a clearer picture of what was happening politically and socially, economically, or internationally. Isaiah was looking for God's presence, perspective, revelation, so that he could effectively fulfill his calling to make the Lord known among the people of Judah. That's what is needed in American church today. As never before, believers need to desire and look for God's perspective in these troubling days. He is the only answer to all the political, civil, international, moral, and spiritual unrest that is present. Are you and your church looking to God and his wisdom to know how to respond in a manner worthy of these uncertain times? This gives you some prompts. It says, Lord, help me to look to you for wisdom in these troubling times. Ask the Lord to do what it takes for your church to start looking to him for help and mercy in these desperate days. That should be our prayer. That should be everyone's prayer. That God, just go to God on your knees in prayer and pray that he will take care of all the issues out there. There's no way we can do that. Everything is in God's hands. So we just need to make sure our heart is where it should be. We should be going to others and talking to them about Christ. We all want to go to heaven. We want everyone to go to heaven. God is in control. Love you guys. Have a good one.